Good evening, all. Welcome to tonight's ImPossible conversation. Tonight, my guest is Kathleen Amanda. She's an empowerment coach and a host of Elite Network Newcastle. So now I'm going to bring Kathleen with me, and we're going to great conversation. Hello, everybody. Hi, Linda. Hi, Frank. How are you doing? Hope you guys having a lovely weekend. Hello, Kathleen.
Hello.
How are
Is
you
it
doing?
working? I'm
It
good.
is working
I'm good.
perfectly.
Fab.
Fantastic. So I've been really looking forward for tonight, you know.
Good. No, I've been looking forward to it too. It'd be nice to chat.
Exactly. Okay, could you tell us about yourself first, please, and what's your story?
Yeah. So I guess my story all really begins December 2016. So before then, I'd had a number of jobs, and up till that point, I was running two businesses. So I was director of two businesses, one with my ex-husband and father, and the other was a business just on my own, in my own entity. And there were six-figure businesses. They're all very good, all to the outside world going quite well. We had business premises, we had staff, and everything seemed quite successful to the outside world. And then December 2016, things changed. So I found myself in a courtroom with my ex-husband, and discovered in the courtroom that I suppose there's no easy way to say it, but that he was a sex offender. And in that instant, literally in those 30 seconds in that courtroom, my life changed. So over the period of 4 months, so from December 2016 to April 2017, I lost both those businesses. So I lost all my income. I lost all my businesses, all the assets, everything. One of the businesses liquidated, and the other business got struck off because of I just didn't keep up with the paperwork because of circumstances. I lost my family, I lost friends, I lost my social network, literally everything. Kind of over a period of 4 months, I lost my entire identity, and I hit rock bottom. I'm not ashamed to say at all that I was suicidal at points. And I just did not know how or why to continue, really. At one point, I thought I was worth more dead than alive, because I believed that an old work pension that I had when I was a civilian in the police force paid out circa £15,000 if I was to die. And I believed that I was worth more dead than alive, because I believed that I would have that payout. I hit some pretty low points. But at that time, I also found personal development. I discovered NLP, I discovered CBT, and I set about. I suppose when they say you hit rock bottom and the only way is up, I hit rock bottom, and I knew that I had to go up from there. So I set about. I went on every workshop available, every training course there was available, and I just absorbed as much information as I could to try and get me through. So I studied NLP, I became an NLP practitioner, and then went on to do the master practitioner. I've trained in CBT, I've done happiness coaching, I've done life coaching, I've done numerous courses. If coaches have done workshops, I've done them. If business owners have done workshops, I've done them. If there's been a weekend course, I've been on it. If there's been an online course, I've just absorbed every little bit of information I could to understand the journey and the process that I'd been on. I'd experienced it. Now I needed to add the education to it to understand it. So I did just that. And over the period of the last 2 years, that's what I've done, which has led me to where I am now. So as of January 2019, I've become a self-sabotage and success coach, business and empowerment coach. So that means that I want to take other people through this journey that I've been on. Not, obviously, I don't want to take them through the hurt and through the bad times, but what I do want to take them on is through that journey from self-sabotage to the self-success. If I can do it, other people can do it too. They just need to know the way, and that's what I'm here to show them.
So when did you find out, how did you know that, who introduced you this personal development world?
So in January
Because when you said
2017, sorry, go on.
Yes,
So
it is, because, sorry, we just, when you were down, and then probably someone introduced you, Catherine, let's do that. That will help
so
you.
they always say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, and you are given what you need when you need it. So obviously my life took a turn December 2016. January 17, a good friend of mine was hosting an event in Newcastle. I didn't know what it was. I'll be honest, I just clicked the invite on Facebook and said, yep, I'm going. Didn't know what it was. She was hosting this event. It was something new. She was excited about it. And I just went to support her. I did it as a friend. I wasn't looking for anything myself. I really didn't know what I was walking into. That event happened to be the Elite Network at Newcastle. And that is where I was introduced to this whole idea of personal development, self-development. This was where I was introduced to this whole concept. So I'd kind of touched on it a little bit through network marketing and a background of network marketing, but I hadn't actually fully understood or absorbed it, or embraced the power of it, really, and the power of self. So like I said, January 2017, I discovered this, and I truly believe that understanding that and becoming aware and embracing this possibility within me truly saved me, because if I hadn't found that in the January, I don't know how I would have survived those 4 months. But I dragged myself through that worst time, and then built on it from there through, like I say, through the self-sabotage and now getting to the self-success.
That's an amazing story, Catherine. So what are you doing now to help other people? You're a coach now, aren't you? Because you experienced it, and you've learned a lot. You've added many education on it, and now you're serving others to help them.
Absolutely. So I say I'm a colourful combination of life experience and education. So I've had the life experience. I've been that 6-figure business owner. I've been that manager. I've employed staff. I've gone through the growth period. I've gone from smaller premises to bigger premises. I've gone from self-employed to limited company. I've done all that. I've experienced all that in terms of business. In personal life, I've gone through a lot. So a lot of things that people experience in many ways, shapes or forms. I was living with an addict for 10 years. I was over 10 years. I was in a relationship with this guy who I then discovered was an addict. I'd been living with the manipulation of that, and then, like I say, gone through the education and had to force myself to learn and understand the processes that I'd been through and lived through, and what this all meant in terms of how it could help others. So now I've been working with people through self-sabotage, through success. I've been working with them on limiting beliefs. I've applied NLP techniques, CBT principles, and worked with them through that self-identity process to really discover who they are and who they want to be, and how they can work towards that.
Okay, so it's just so many to take in, Catherine. Right. So are you organizing any workshops or anything like that? How people find you? Because
at the moment, but by all means, if people want to connect with me through Facebook, through Instagram, by all means they can do so. Message me privately to work with me one-to-one. You will see in the very, very coming months, you will see some events being launched, which I'm remaining a little bit tight-lipped about at the moment till the details are finalised, but they will be getting launched very, very, very soon. So that'll be some events, and then there'll be some frameworks that you can go through and work with me on following the events. But all the details will be launched on the Facebook very, very shortly.
Very shortly. I'm sure there will be lots of people looking forward to it. And I would like to ask you a few questions. What do you think
Absolutely.
is your driving force of your life?
My driving force would be just helping others, because if I can do it and I can get through what I've got through, other people can too. And helping others is something that's been a value to me from being very, very young. So I always laugh and say, I went along to Brownies at 7-year-old and I never left, and I didn't till I was 30-year-old. I stayed and I went through all the young leadership programs. I went through the young adult leaders programs. I was a mentor. I was helping other people from a very, very young age. It was something that was instilled in me. And even down to just personally, if I can help somebody, I will. I would struggle, and I really do struggle, sitting at home doing nothing if I could be somewhere else helping somebody. So if somebody messages me and asks me, even if it's just for a lift from one place to another, that's even down to those small tasks, it's something I would do, because I really struggle, because it's a value that I hold dear. I really struggle with sitting doing nothing if I'm in a position where I could be somewhere else helping somebody. So you'll find me, I'll travel up and down the country just to support people. I'll be there to help them. I'm that person that people ring because they know I won't let them down. It
That's
really
amazing,
is like,
Catherine.
yeah, helping others is just, that is the driving force behind me doing what I do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and then you are host of Elite Network Newcastle. How come you
Yes.
got into that, and tell us more about it? Yeah.
So the Elite Network is a personal development network across the UK. So it's live now in I think we've got 6 or 7 locations now across the UK. And obviously I discovered it in the January of 2017, and it was live in Leeds and Manchester and Chelmsford at that point. So I decided in my infinite wisdom to travel to all of the locations every month, because it was something that, in a time where I was rock bottom, it was personally driving me to go further and go harder and just stay committed and stay in that environment and surrounding myself with those people that were going to pull me forward. So I just literally submerged myself, like absolutely, completely and utterly embraced the concept of the Elite Network. And I was traveling to Leeds and I was traveling to Manchester and Chelmsford every single month. And around about, I think it was around about the September time, Kate, who was the current host at the time, launched her new business. So she launched as a PT, which meant she was working longer hours. She had to be more available for clients. She needed more flexibility in her diary, and she just couldn't commit to the Elite Network every month. So I was approached and asked if I would kindly take over as host, which was an opportunity that I just embraced, and it's been amazing. And I love what we've built at Newcastle. So the membership has grown month on month. The number of first timers coming through the door has grown month on month. We're getting amazing feedback, and the connections and the relationships that are being built in that atmosphere at Newcastle are just incredible. And it's really, really heartwarming to see. Like I just embrace it month on month. I love going to see who we're going to have turn up, what the speakers are going to offer, and just seeing. I stand back sometimes and listen to some of the conversations that are happening when networking's going on, and it warms me to see the relationships that are being built and the connections that are being made there. I really, really do enjoy what we've got at Newcastle.
Exactly, because I love going there. It's just a completely different networking event, isn't it? All positive, like-minded.
That's
All
exactly what
inspiring,
it
yeah.
is. Yeah, positive, like-minded, inspired, motivated people who just on that growth mindset journey. They want to be surrounded by like-minded people, and that's what we come together once a month to be around. And it goes deeper than that as well, because people at Newcastle don't just meet that once a month. We've got meetings and connections that are happening outside of that Elite Network, which is just amazing to see. Like I say, the friendships, the relationships, the business connections that are happening. And it's not a business networking event. The focus is on personal development, but like I say, the business networking comes as a secondary. which it's just brilliant to see. It really, really is. And I'm really, really proud of all of our members at Newcastle and what they're achieving, because every single one of them is on this journey as well. They're all growing. They're all, they're developing into something new. And it's great to see. It's really incredible to see, like what you've created here, with these interviews and what I know you've got in the pipeline coming. It's really inspiring to see.
Oh, thank you. Because if I didn't go to Elite Network, I wouldn't be doing this now.
It's incredible to see, isn't it? It's
yeah, that's it. I would 100% say that.
So
yeah,
what was, can I just ask you then, just quickly, I'm going to switch it around for a quick second.
Oh,
what
no.
was the what was the trigger for you to set up this then, and to inspire you? Was there a particular trigger at one of the elite networks, or was it just being in that space, in that environment?
Do you know the honest answer? Peter Kettle and Mary Kettle, Linda and me, Frank Saliki.
Yeah.
We created a little group called How to Be Brilliant, because I've read the book of Michael Appel.
Yeah.
To Be Brilliant book. Absolutely loved it. So I created that little group, and we said, do you know what? It's better be ready when the opportunity comes in. So we decided to do a practice run, just interviewing, and it was just a practice run. Really not joking, but it is just started in that way. You know what? I'll interview you. Okay, I'll interview you. It was just in that little group.
Oh,
but then everyone's enjoyed it, and then I realized everyone's got a story, and everyone's got a message. And the thing is, if you don't go and ask that person, people won't talk about it. People are just so humble. They are extraordinary, but so ordinary. They think they just being themselves, but they have so much. They've gone through so much. They've achieved so much. And
completely agree.
I just need to go then and ask lots of questions and make them to speak about themselves more and show the world who they are.
Absolutely. Do you know what? I completely agree with that everyone's got a story within them, but sometimes their stories are so significant they become insignificant because they just feel as if, well, this is just life, and they don't realize that somebody somewhere needs to hear your story.
It will inspire someone out there. That's how it started. Right. Okay. What absolutely excites you, Catherine?
Seeing the change in people. So what I obviously I love helping people, and I love being able to offer that support in whatever way, shape or form that is. But what excites me is seeing the change. So seeing that when you see that light bulb moment, when people go, oh, I had that light bulb moment, it's seeing that moment of realization in them and knowing that they're never going back. From that moment on, they're not going backwards in their journey, they're only moving forwards. And whether that's in a completely different plan direction, or whether that's towards what goals they already had, it's that moment of realization, seeing that change and knowing that you've been even just a small part of that.
Oh, you are going to be not even small. Everyone's going through the elite network, Catherine. It's all been because if you weren't there, and if no one didn't take over the girl who's left, can you imagine that?
Do you know what?
That network won't be here.
That actually just that frightens me. Actually, when you just said that, what would happen if the elite network wasn't there?
Exactly.
Because when you think over the last 12 months, well, a bit more than that, but even just taking the last 12 months, what's the businesses that have been set up, the workshops that have happened, the businesses that have grown as a result of that elite network, and that meeting being there and me facilitating those speakers being able to come, that actually, when you put it into perspective like that, that's something I've not really thought of. But
you see, the part of that ripple effect, it's all in you as well. Everyone is.
Do you know? See, you don't think of it like that, do you? I just think of it turning up and
No,
doing my
that's
bit on the night. But actually,
hmm
when you put that perspective on it, if I wasn't there and if it wasn't for me, um,
yeah.
those meetings, I'm sure someone else would take it over. But in terms
But we
of,
don't know. We never
yeah,
know.
yeah,
It might
wow,
closed.
wow, I like that perspective. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, that is definitely my perspective. So my next question would be, if you had the opportunity to meet one person you haven't met, who would it be and why?
Um, I'm going to go a little bit strange on this one. Probably an unpopular choice or different choice. It would be Will I Am. Um, just
Will I
he
am, did you
is,
say?
yeah, Will I Am. So not, see,
He's amazing, isn't he?
not someone you would
No,
probably
he's
expect me to
amazing.
say, but what he,
Uh-huh.
his vision, he's such a visionary. So he worked
Mm-hmm.
as part of a visionary tech team, before obviously the Black Eyed Peas for him. Then what he's created in terms of change through the music industry, but then now what he continues to do in projects across the globe, and even in London with STEM education. I just think he's got such a vision. His offices are called the future, so and whenever anybody has a meeting with him, they have to go to the future.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's just such a I just love he's so visionary, and the music industry is something that does provide me a lot of I say music is my therapy.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of my passions as well. So if I could meet anybody, it would be Will I Am.
Do you know what? Go and audition to Voice 2019.
No, that's something. No amount of affirmations and believing I can sing will make me be able to sing. But I will cross paths with him one day. It is written in the stars. And actually, there is a funny story about
Uh-huh.
um, I used to, when I was going through my rough patch and my little life reset, I used to laugh and say, "I'll just need to meet," because I wrote song lyrics as a way to how to focus and get my emotions and things out of my head,
Mm-hmm.
things that were going round and round. And I started to write song lyrics. I'm not musical in any way, shape, or form, so I've got no musical background. I can't play an instrument and make these into songs. I just could write the lyrics. Um, and this was what I was doing. And I used to laugh and laugh things off and say, "Do you know, one day I'll meet Will I Am, and like I'll become a number one songwriter, and these songs,
Mm-hmm.
this'll be my success." And I got through it by way of laughter and diversion and stuff with these sorts
Uh-huh.
of things.
Uh-huh.
So I used to laugh and say I would just meet Will I Am. And I went to the Elite Network, and my direct debit for my membership came out of my bank account, and the registered company name for Elite Network at the time was Will I Can Limited, um, because that was Will's company at the time. So I laughed and kept saying I was looking for Will I Am, and at the time I needed Will I Can.
Uh-huh. I don't mind if you don't know it by heart, but you have to bring your lyrics and read it as for a couple of lines or even more.
I'll share them.
You have,
I'll
yeah,
get
of course.
I'll get some stuff. I'll get some stuff
Mm-hmm.
pulled out of my old notebooks and share it.
I'll wait. Go on.
I'll put it. No, no, it's all down in the garage. But I will. I'll get some of my old notebooks out, and
I'm sure you
I'll
have a
print
couple
them.
of lines.
I'll
You
bring
could
some
do it
stuff to the
now.
No, 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 no. I can't remember
You
what
don't
was.
have to
There was
rap,
one
you know.
about being a game changer, and
Uh-huh.
things. There's all sorts. I'll pull them out. I'll pull them out and bring them to the next Elite Network, and we'll share them. We'll share them.
I it's I think them words are going to be so inspirational and so positive. Oh, that's what I
Hopefully,
think.
hopefully. Do you
Yeah.
know what? There's
Hmm.
still there's still
So
time. There's still time for it to
you
be a
know the
number one.
guys all watching who is going to come to the March Elite Network meeting, just remind us,
I
remind
will. Do you
Catherine.
know what? I will bring some of the song lyrics to the Elite Network on the 28th.
Okay, are you going
I'll
to
do that
add
next
on
month.
a slide? And do you know what, guys? I got so many people watching, Catherine, and I
I
never
can't
do
see. I
this
don't
because
know. I can't see who's
yeah,
on.
because
Can I see?
yeah, and because I'm still learning, you know. It's just so many. So Linda's definitely there. Sophie's there. Becky, Scott, Oliver. Hi.
Hi,
Arnold is
everyone.
there. Mary, hi. Yeah, so I guess you,
Hi,
everything's
everyone.
practice, isn't it? Hi, everyone. So I hope you enjoyed Catherine Amanda. Okay, Catherine, what do you believe in?
What do I believe in?
Yes.
I
What's your
believe.
vision, actually?
What's
Mm-hmm.
my vision? My vision, my big vision. So my big goal, my
Big,
big
big,
vision.
big.
My biggest goal is to reduce the statistics around mental health and suicide. This is something that is massively, massively, massively a passion and a belief of mine. And I believe there's so many people that are struggling that don't know they're struggling, and workplace stress, high performance stress, business burnout is such a massive thing. I've been there in
Mm-hmm.
terms of business ownership, where you think the longer and harder you work, the better the results is. It doesn't work like that, and so many people suffer as a result, and they bury their head in the sand because they're blind to it, because there's just not the discussions, and there's not the support, and there's not the belief that there should be around it. So that is my big vision, and I will do that by means of I will keep that one under wraps. But yeah, I've got a big vision and a big belief in a way that I can raise the funds and the money to be able to do that.
You definitely have to do that because I totally get it. That's just something really big.
What scares me is that the
Mm-hmm.
statistics are absolutely frightening, and by 2020, depression is said to be one of the biggest disabilities in the world, and that is absolutely frightening. That the biggest disability in the world, as a whole, can be fixed for free. It is absolutely petrifying. I'm not saying that all cases of stress and depression
Mm-hmm.
can be fixed for free. In some cases, you do need additional support. You do need
Mm-hmm.
those specialists. But as a whole, it's in here, and it can be done for free if you know how. I don't blame anybody for this. There's no particular you are to blame. It is just lack of
Mm-hmm.
education and awareness, and just complete lack of understanding. But there's no reason. We're not lacking any resources. We're not lacking any information. We're not lacking anything that's stopping us from doing this as a not as a country, just as a planet, as the world. And we're not doing anything of this nature on a global scale. And there's some charities out there, and there's some organizations, and there's some groups that are doing some phenomenal work, but sometimes we're concentrating in the wrong areas as well. If you look at self-employed people, if you look at business owners, wow, if you look at the statistics around those, it is frightening. And a lot of it is down to this, the just absolute self-sabotage of, the longer, harder you work, the more productive you are, the better you are as a business owner, the more the results come. And
Mm-hmm.
that is simply not the case. We're pushing ourselves too hard and too far. And
Yeah.
I'm living proof of that. I mean, if you look at me last year, in May of last year, I had a car crash, pushing myself too hard, too fast, too far for too
Mm-hmm.
long.
Yes, you did.
Um,
Yeah.
completely and utterly self-sabotage, and even with all the awareness that I've got, it was still not enough, because I still had I still subconsciously had those things that were getting in my own way. And fortunately, I survived that crash. But this, it could have been a very different story. And how many people are in that same position?
Yeah, because it's for themselves. They have to work harder. And I even remember the guy, is it? Because I was listening to him on YouTube. He was saying he was working like 6 days a week, but like some people doesn't really work that hard, but still wants to be successful. And then being successful means you have to work harder and harder. You have to dedicate it to it. I understand that bit, but
Yeah,
it is balance, isn't it?
completely not late, and we've got a, you know, there is that productivity curve, and we all hit that peak where we'll drop, and at some point the balance tips, and we're no longer productive, and we're dropping, and we're actually creating negative results, but we don't see it. And it's high performance stress, where, you know, we're in that high performance state, thinking, you know, if we stay committed, if we're working harder, if we commit ourselves, if we dig deep and get that promotion, if we, you know, if we stay those extra hours, if we go to work a little bit earlier, come home a little bit later, it's, oh, we're not stressed. You know, if you say to someone, what's the top 3 signs of someone suffering from stress and depression, they'll probably say sad, withdrawn, can't get out of bed, or something along those lines. And that's a very, very dangerous misrepresentation of what stress and depression can actually look like in the day-to-day world. You know, with the people say 1 in 4 people suffer from mental health. I actually think, you know, 1 in 4 people are diagnosed as suffering from mental health. The other 3 are either suffering from it themselves or suffering from the consequences of other people's mental health problems, which in turn creates further problems down the line. So I think the more we can do around, you know, awareness of self, and, you know, it all starts with you. And the more we can create awareness around self, then, you know, the more change we can make as a whole. And you know, then if people are inspired by people, you know, so if you see people around you growing, if you see people around you becoming more and more aware, and there is this shift, you know, we've got this big thing about, you know, the being in the 5 a.m. club. You know, we've got business owners that want to work on global businesses, yet are so hung up on a UK time frame. So what if you're up at 5 o'clock in the morning? It doesn't make it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make you more dedicated. It doesn't make you a better business owner just because you're up at 5 o'clock. Your productivity, your dedication, your procrastination, your habits are still the same. All that means is you're getting up at 5 o'clock. It doesn't instantly mean that you're suddenly a successful business owner because you've got up at 5 o'clock in the morning. If you're a nighttime worker and you're more productive in an evening, what you're doing getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you're just making yourself worse. And all that's going to do is create more resentment, more bad habits. You're going to look for an escape from reality. And that escapism is going to be something that's going to be detrimental to your overall mental health and progress.
Exactly. So what do you think? Because when you love what you're doing, time just flows by. So you don't even realize you've spent so many time on whatever you're doing. So in that respect, you could have 10 hours working without even realizing. I mean, like when you're passionate about doing something. So
yeah, look,
I guess because you're
yeah, if you're
it's nothing to do with mental health, but then it's a balance in your work and life. Yeah,
it all comes back to awareness. Absolute awareness is key in every way, shape or form. You know, finances, you've got to be aware of your finances. It's all well and good knowing what's going out, but if you don't know what's coming in, you're going to end up in an imbalance. Likewise, if you know what's coming in but you don't know what's going out, you're going to create an imbalance, and that's going to be where, you know, stress and anxiety is going to occur, because you're going to have this imbalance. Again, in time, it's all well and good committing to, you know, doing 10 hours work because you're passionate and you're just in flow and you're productive and you're creating those things. That's great. But if you've then got to get up, say if you're going to bed at 11 o'clock at night or 12 o'clock at night, and you've got to be up, you know, 5 o'clock in the morning because you're traveling somewhere else for something else you've already committed to, that again is not productive, because you then, you know, you haven't got that time to rest and recuperate and recover before you back out again, you know. So you're then gonna, you could then have the knock-on effect and the detriment at your meeting the next day, because you haven't looked after and been aware of your time. You've got to be strict with yourself. Linda's just popped on there, eat, drink, sleep, repeat. That was my resource of the month at the Elite Network. The month after I had the crash was eat, drink, sleep, repeat. And it's something that I still live by now. And the first thing that goes with me is my sleep pattern. The first thing, because I'll push myself, what I'll do, and this is still one of my bad habits that I need to break, and I'm aware of it, but I still haven't broke it, is going to I'll push myself during the day, and if someone says, can you do this for me, can you do that, can you help here, can you help that, and I'll still go and do it, and I'll help them, and I'll push my own things and my own diary and my own commitments back and back and back, and I'll sacrifice my sleep for it. And this is where I get into problems. This is where and I can go for months and months and months and be absolutely fine, and then it'll hit me, but it'll hit me like a ton of bricks, and I'll be no good for a few days, and I'll literally wipe out a few days in my diary because I'll have to stop and recover. So eat, sleep, drink, repeat. Make sure you're not sacrificing your diet. Make sure, even if you're eating junk food, eat. It's better for you than nothing. Don't be malnourished because you've neglected eating. It's so frightening how many people do it. They'll eat at desks, or they'll just not eat, or they were going to nip out from work and grab something to eat, but they'll stop and they'll stay at their desk because they think that's better for their boss and this and that. They'll do it. Keeping hydrated. So many people neglect a water intake, and it is like dehydration can kill you. It's not given the respect it deserves. And sleep, like, absolutely, your sleep pattern needs to be key. It's so key. And I know myself when I need more sleep. And it's one of the first things I let go and let slip. And it is one of the most detrimental things to me. So usually, one of the things I will talk with people about when if we're doing a kind of assessment and things will be their sleep patterns. And 9 times out of 10, I can guarantee they're not getting enough.
It is very basic stuff. Just eat, drink, sleep. It's just very, very basic. But then we all neglect it, don't we? So
it's so frightening how, it's very cliche to say, but so many people, when things go wrong, will say, do you know what it is? We just need to go back to basics. And you'll have heard it in corporate environments. You'll have heard it in relationship environments. You'll have heard it, so many people, we just need to go back to basics. We just need to get the basics right. Let's work on the basics. If you don't neglect them and don't leave them in the first place, you'll never have to return to them. Stick with them. Eat, sleep, drink, repeat.
I'm sure that all the viewers agree. Eat, sleep. Eat, drink, and sleep. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a great message. Love it. So, is there anything, because you just coming across that coach that just given us a very basic tip, which is so valuable.
Some basic tips. So one of my big ones would be trust your gut. Trust your gut instinct. Absolutely value your intuition. Your intuition is your inner tutor. It is your inner teacher. It knows you better than you know yourself, because not only does it know your conscious mind, but it knows your subconscious mind. It knows everything that's going on inside of you, inside your mind, inside your body. It knows you better than you know yourself and could ever know yourself, because we don't know what is in there subconsciously. It does. So trust it. If there is resistance, if there is any resistance on any level, even for a fleeting second, just listen to it. Absolutely listen to it and dig into it. If there is resistance there, become aware of it. Become aware of it and dig into it, because there'll be a reason there. It might be something that you are consciously aware of. It might be something on a subconscious level that just by paying it a little bit of attention and paying it that respect that it deserves, that it then becomes a conscious thing, and you can then be aware of it. You can then work around it. You can then weigh up the threat, whether it is a threat, whether you need to activate your fight or flight. But absolutely trust your gut instinct. We will all, and I can guarantee everybody watching this live, anybody who watches it on a replay, at some point in your life, you will have said, I should have trusted my gut. I knew this was going to happen. And
Yes.
you will all have had those moments where you go, I knew that was going to happen. I had a feeling. And you can't describe that feeling. You can't grab it. You can't describe it. You can't express what that feeling is. It's just something there. And that is that is your gut instinct. That is your intuition telling you what is there. So that would be my biggest tip, would be trust your gut always.
Nicely said.
Yeah, it's, you know, nothing is ever done with a bad intention, and everything is done to serve us in the best way from our subconscious mind, conscious mind, our gut instinct. Everything is done to serve us in the best way. So it's never there to negatively impact us. And even if it's just to make us aware of something so that we can make changes and still go ahead with something, that's fine, but it's making us aware that we need to make changes, and that could just be something ever so small, ever so slight, but it could make all the difference. So it's never there to harm you. It's never there to create any problems for you. It's only ever seeks to serve you in the best way. So trust it.
Trust your gut instinct.
Yeah,
That's excellent fun.
It is your best friend, your absolute best friend.
Yeah. Amazing. So, what's the something that no one would guess about you? What? Thinking?
Something. I have a sailing qualification. Something very random. But I actually have a sailing qualification.
Oh, right.
So, in my guiding background, I had a residential qualification, so that meant I was qualified to lead groups of girls on residentials. So I was put forward and nominated to take a group of girls on a sailing weekend for part of one of the girl guides' qualifications. So they needed to take part in a residential experience, and this was something on a county level. So it was a regional level that they were going on their adventure on the James Cook yacht for the weekend, and they needed 2 qualified leaders that had this residential qualification, and I was nominated as one of them. So I led a group of girls on a sailing weekend on board the James Cook yacht. We got to, and it's one of my most reflective moments in life. I got to be underneath, so in the sea, underneath the Red Arrows as they performed. So they were literally there above me, literally right above me, doing their full display at the end of the Great North Run. And the Great North Run is something that's been part of my family for a number of years. I've had family members run it, raised lots of money for charity, different causes over the years. And it was just seeing the whole thing. I'll not run the Great. No, I don't run. I've been there. I've been chauffeur. I've been taxi driver. I've been first aider. I've been lots of different places. And every year now, I'll be in the charity village for Sarah's Hope Foundation, which is one of the charities I hold dear and that I support. So I'm always in the charity village at the end of the run for all the runners for that charity. I'll not run it. No, it's not something that you'll see me do. But it was a different perspective on an event that's been part of my childhood growing up. It was just seeing it from a different perspective, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Like water, being near the water, on the water, anywhere, anything to do with water is one of my. Carol, who's online, sorry, Carol's just commented. Carol is one of the managers at Sarah's Hope Foundation, which is the charity that I'll support at the Great North Run. So yeah, we'll be there again this year in September. But yeah, being anywhere near the water is one of my biggest resets, one of my biggest kind of calming measures. So being in that moment there was just absolutely, it was really, really powerful for me, and one of the moments that I often go back to if there's times where I need to kind of bring myself back or ground myself, is one of the moments that I will reflect on.
Would you like to give us a bit more information why you chose to support that charity and
absolutely
behind it?
Absolutely. Yes. So
that would be lovely to know.
Yes. So Sarah's Hope Foundation are a charity that provide smiles, hope and precious memories to childhood sufferers of cancer. So what they do is they have a retreat villa in Crete. on the island over there, and they send very deserving families over there for a family break. So when you've got children who are suffering from cancer, in the family unit will often become very kind of detached. So sometimes you'll get siblings that are still having to go to school, still having to keep a routine, whilst you've got another sibling that's, you know, often undergoing sort of very long treatments in hospital. You'll have parents that'll become sort of split, because you'll have one that's still, again, looking after the home, keeping up the routine, while the other one is with the other sibling in hospital. And sometimes all they need is just time to regroup as a family and just remake those bonds, time to connect and just make precious memories. So Sarah's Hope Foundation facilitate that for families. So it's a local charity. It's a very, very small charity, but what they do and what they offer is just phenomenal. You know, they send an increasing number of families every year over there, and the bond between everybody within that charity is just incredible. So I came across it a number of years ago when I had my events business. Carol actually contacted me for some bits and pieces to support one of their charity balls. So they have a fundraising ball every year, which is based around Sarah's birthday. So Sarah was unfortunately passed from cancer at a young age, and it's her parents who set up the foundation in her memory. So for Sarah's birthday every year they have a charity ball, which is which, yes, we do a lot of fundraising, but the emphasis is just the atmosphere is just phenomenal and second to none. So I went along, did something as part of my events business, and just got absolutely absorbed in the atmosphere at this ball. Like I say, what they do, what they achieve, how they've grown, and the bond between everyone is just incredible. And me being me and liking to help people, I couldn't stay away. I couldn't not do anything to support them. So I can't give financially what I haven't got right now. I would love to be able to just fund every family every year. That would be incredible to do, but I'm just not in a financial position to do that yet. But what I can do is give my time and energy, and give anything that, again, anything that I can, any skills that I've got, I will give. So I'll pop a link on to the charity as well. You can have a look at some of the events we've got on. So they've just done the Mad March Mare, which was a 10k obstacle course this weekend. So we've got lots of events coming up this year. We've got lots of local fundraising events. We've got our bigger ball this year, which is children's TV show themed. So that'll be very, very interesting this year. We've got charity golf days. I'll pop we've got the fire walk this year, which I'll be doing in April. So you guys will be able to see me do the fire walk. So that is a world record attempt as well. Lots of people doing that. Yes. So I'll be walking over that fire for Sarah's Hope Foundation in April this year. But I'll pop a link on to their Facebook group and their website. Have a little look at the cause and what some of the families who've been part of it. The bond between them is just phenomenal. I could never ever imagine what some of those parents, siblings and little kids have to go through. So if I can give whatever I can give to help them, I'll continue to do that for as long as I'm around.
Yes, of course. That's so inspirational, because there are so many charities and everyone supports them different ways when they can do it financially, but I would prefer to do it by yourself rather than just like giving a few pounds here and there, because when you feel it, you go there by yourself, help and contribution. That's much more than just giving a few pounds here and there, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong, financial donations are obviously crucial to being able to help these families get over there. But the time and the effort from all the volunteers, from the board of trustees, from the Carol and Alison who work in the office, the time is what is precious. The time is invaluable. You can't put a price on the hours that that everyone for that charity goes above and beyond. and the atmosphere is like no other. Like when I was working in events, I got to see a lot of charities, I got to see a lot of fundraising balls, I got to see a lot of fundraising events, and out of all of them, Sarah's Hope Foundation was the one that stuck with me.
That's really good to know that we now know one more charity, because it sounds like it's quite small charity, because personally I've never heard of it.
Absolutely. So it is just a local charity. Like I say, they've got a small board of trustees. There's the two guys that work in the office, Carol and Alison, and they've got Jed and Julie, who are based over in Crete. So Jed and Julie are Sarah's parents, and they are based over in Crete. So they greet obviously the families. They can relate to those families. That you can't understand what it's like to go through that until you've been through it. So that support. That relatability is absolutely invaluable to those families at that time. Sarah's siblings are over on the island as well, so they can relate to the siblings that are going through it. It's absolutely invaluable. But they are, in terms of people and manpower, they are just a small charity. But the work they do is absolutely phenomenal. And it used to be just Newcastle and local based families, and now the demand, unfortunately, because obviously there's more families suffering, so unfortunately the demand has increased. But because of the ongoing and continued support of the families, who continue to fundraise in support of the charity, and the volunteers, and the more people that are aware, the more families that we can send over there, and that's increasing year on year, which is just absolutely phenomenal. And that has spread across the country. So then now there's applications coming in from other hospitals now.
It makes so much difference for them families, isn't it?
It's precious. It's absolutely precious. You can't put a price on the memories.
Exactly. So let's just I would like to talk about kind of you. Could you describe yourself as a fiery redhead?
I am a typical
Yeah. So how do you handle being in a bad mood?
Music. music gets me through, and whether that's allowing me to stay in that bad mood or negative state, whether that's allowing me to feel the rage or sadness or hurt, because let's face it, we all need to experience and express those emotions. So whether that's just wallowing in it for a little bit with some meaningful music, meaningful lyrics, or whether that's a complete change of state and just putting on an empowering, uplifting, inspiring song. Music is one of my biggest therapies. So that is key for me. The second one would be 90 seconds. So 90 seconds is something that I say to myself quite often, because when you experience an emotion, the chemical change in your body only lasts for 90 seconds. The reason we stay in such in an emotion, whether that's a positive or a negative one, is because we are cognitively choosing to replay that emotion in our mind. So if I'm going into a negative state or an unresourceful state, and it really isn't productive and it's not resourceful, and I don't want to stay there and I don't want to express it, I just say to myself 90 seconds, and I kind of laugh it off as, you're doing this to yourself. There's only, Catherine, there is only you right now that is making you feel this way. Stop it. And it stops.
Do you actually time it?
No, I don't time it. I just say to myself, literally, if I'm because you can get there, you can get in that. When you're in that state, your brain is like a database. So your brain is like a database, and it will search for more evidence to support that mood. So if you're going, do you know what? This always happens to me. Why is it always me? Right? Your brain will instantly go, oh, you want evidence for that? So it'll constantly go, remember that time back in 2002 when this happened? Remember when you were back at primary school and such said this? It will literally fire back evidence from this database to you. And
evidence.
Absolutely. And that is what keeps us in that state. So I'll literally just say to myself, 90 seconds, and stop it. Literally stop it dead. If I want to.
It works.
Sometimes, it does, absolutely. The amount of times I've been driving my car and saying 90 seconds, and it just stops. stops it. It breaks it. It breaks that thought process. It breaks that cycle and puts you on a different path. And normally for me, it's kind of a laughter one, because I'll laugh and kind of go, yeah, you're doing it to yourself. And it brings me around to the like funny things. But sometimes we need to allow ourselves the space to express the emotions. So sometimes if you want to be angry, if you want to be upset, if you want to be in any of those kind of negative states,
Yes.
and sometimes we do need to, like you say, you need to allow yourself the space to express those. Then it'll be music that I'll play some meaningful songs or some lyrics that'll kind of hit home with me, or allow me to just be in that mood for a bit, and then I'll change it up once I've had enough. I'll change it back up and change the playlist back to my good happy songs.
Yeah. Do you know what? I absolutely love it, because we have to feel that emotions, don't we? And if you're always on a high, there is no point of having a life, because it's all ups and downs, and it's all about balance.
Completely, absolutely, all about balance and all about awareness. And there's no point saying that, nobody is constantly happy, nobody is always in a good mood, nobody is always in a productive and resourceful state. And anybody who says they are, quite frankly, I would challenge whoever that is, on whatever scale. I would challenge that, because I don't believe that's possible, to always be in a resourceful and good state. So allow yourself.
Sounds scary, getting challenged by Catherine. Why are you happy?
Don't take on the redhead. Don't take on the redhead.
Right. Okay. So, because I think our time is quite close to finish now. And if you could delete one thing from the world, what would that be?
Oh, that's a hard one. What would I delete? Because there's that whole kind of, if you delete it, then there's no awareness of it. Yeah, that's the thing, is if you delete something, how do you know? You're like, yeah, you don't get. I would like to say inequality. I think I would say inequality, because I think, like I say, I think everything should be about balance, and nobody should suffer for reasons for no apparent reason. If there's no reason why there should be suffering any sort of inequality or imbalance, then that shouldn't be there. There's a big argument, isn't there, for deleting money from the world, and if we deleted money from the world, then everything would have to become an exchange of energy or an exchange of value. But then if we didn't have money as a representation of value, how would we know? So I suppose, I think mine would probably be in inequality.
Because if you were, okay, let me just say it. What do you wish someone would ask you? Because is there any question I'm missing that you wanted to talk about?
Not really, in terms of in terms of my story, in terms of what I've got to offer. Probably not really. The only question I would say that I would like people to ask me is, can you help me? Because I would, again, if I can help people, I will. If I'm in a position to help somebody in any way, shape or form, I will do that. So I would just probably leave it as an open question and say, or open statement, and say that the only thing that I would ever wish somebody would ask me is, can you help me? Because I would hate for somebody to be sitting suffering in silence, if just for the fear of asking for help. So that's the only question that I would say is, don't ever hold back and always ask me, can you help me?
Excellent. Absolutely amazing. So let's see. You gave
That's
us
a little bit strange. It's a little bit different, isn't it?
No, because you are just so inspirational. Okay, so what's your message? Because we've got so many tips from you. Trust your gut.
Yeah, trust your gut, and because
drink, sleep.
Yeah,
that's all I would take them as your tips.
That's my tips.
Message?
Yeah, everything you have and need is within you already. It's all in you. You don't need any external validation. You don't need anybody else. You don't need anything else. Everything is within you, and you just need to uncover it. So many people I know and see and hear are holding themselves back when they've got everything they need within them already.
So what's this self-development and industry?
Is the thing is
Are they making people think? Sorry, are they making people think they're not enough?
No, not at all. I believe so.
Okay.
Self development and the like personal development industry is the key. Is the key to unlocking what's within you already. And a lot of people is when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So you could have watched a YouTube video of someone giving a TED talk. You could have watched or seen or read something that just won't have resonated with you at that time. You know, how many times have you gone back and reread a book or rewatched a video or heard a message just put a different way by somebody else, or just heard it at the time when you needed to hear it? So that is what I believe the personal development and self-development industry is. It is the key to unlocking what is within you, and you will hear it from the right teacher in the right way at the right time for you. But what we need to do is continue to talk, continue to put these messages out. Look, the brain isn't new, okay? Psychology isn't going to develop. Our brain isn't going to change. The way we function is still how we functioned years ago, okay? What is changing is our understanding and our perspective and our awareness on it. So what we need is people to keep putting their perspective, their awareness, and putting their spin on things, okay? So essentially there is no new content. There is just new perspectives on that content. And what we need to do is continue sharing those perspectives on that content, because my perspective on it could be the key to unlocking what's within you, because I just say it in a way that you've not heard before, but is the way that you relate to it. If that makes sense.
Yes.
So, as you know, if we can get more perspectives, if we can get more, more people aware of this, then the more we can share, the more we can create change. Nothing ever changes by staying the same. So we need to continue with this change, and we need to keep inspiring change within others as well.
Exactly, because everybody's different. Therefore, lots of people get things from a different way. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. It's been absolutely amazing to have you as my guest, Catherine.
Thank you. No, it's a privilege that you've asked me.
So much. Thank you very much for everyone who has been watching as well. And yeah, you've been amazing. And
thank you.
Are we going like we promised? We're going to add that you're going to launch your
yep. So I'll
I
can only see a handful of the comments that are coming at a time. So I'll go back, I'll reread all the comments, I'll answer any questions or anything that's popped in there. I'll share the information about the charity as well, as promised. And as soon as there's any information on any events or the website getting launched, I will come back and I will share that information with you guys as well.
Okay. Thanks so much, and thank you very much, everyone, for watching.
Yes, thank you, everyone, and thank you for starting this. Thank you for starting this, and thank you for the invite to share my story.
No problem at all. Probably without you, it won't be happening.
I see, again, this is what I'm saying about new perspectives, because obviously I've been part of the Elite Network for quite some time now, but that's a new perspective that you've put on it for me. So that is, I'm truly grateful for that. Thank you.
That's the truth. Okay, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a good evening. Bye. Good night.